Anyway, welcome to our analysis on sealed for Jump to Light. So this is our sealed discussion that we're gonna have. We usually do one of these like every term. Like I had thought about doing what should you do when you look at sealed, and I said, well, let's just have Alex rebuild the list again and call it a day, because every time like all it does is kind of go back to should we just go back to the list and look at it, right? And so Alex has graciously put together we will call it a so-called tier list, I guess. Like it's not like an exact tier list. We are saying these are predictability, what we would call probably good, okay, and bad. And then did you do any where you said this one is unplayable? We did that last time. We had a couple of cards that were unplayable.
Although unplayable when it was Jar Jar.
All right.
Sad, but no, I didn't do unplayable. Although if I were to choose that, it would probably be that green rare base, the one where you have to stack 10 more cards in there.
Well, all of them will be off suit.
Sealed. Yeah. So that would probably be the completely unplayable one.
Yeah. And so to kind of just before we get into this, just to go over, when you do a sealed tournament, essentially you're getting 6 packs. You get to build a deck out of it. You have the ability, because it's a casual event, to kind of change your deck around as you see fit between rounds. So this is kind of our discussion is going to be more focused on like building one deck for the event. We're not going to talk about switching your deck around. I did do that once. I actually built a Thrawn deck out of a sealed, and then decided it sucked so bad that like I just switched it to a Krennic and did a little bit better. But because you're getting you're getting 6 packs of cards, essentially you're kind of being told, here you go, this is this is your set card pool. I believe the minimum is it 30 cards?
It's 30, yeah,
it's 30. Mm-hmm.
So you have to build a deck of 30 cards. Unless you're playing the green base, then you have to build a deck of 40 cards.
Or the red base is 25.
Yeah, or you can build a red base of 20. Actually, we'll have that discussion. We'll come back to that. Mm-hmm. We're going to actually talk about that at the end. We will come back to that because I think that's actually crazy if you get that base. But anyway, Alex, why don't you begin? Why don't you tell us a little bit about? We'll start with the leaders and why you feel so like this is a pretty big list. We have here.
So again, these tiers are, hey, this is probably good. Hey, this is okay. Hey, this is probably bad. A lot of it leans more like, hey, this is probably bad because it requires a very specific list of deck building things, or hey, this is probably pretty good because it's generically good, right? So for leaders, I did mark which ones are rare, which ones aren't rare, so you can kind of base it around that. And then I believe you are getting the Boba Fett and Han Solo leaders as well, the showcase starter pack people.
Yep.
So for probably good, I have Asajj, because stats are fine, give grit to a unit, it's pretty generically decent. Rose Tico, because there are a ton of vehicles and space units in this set, a ton. So I'm sure you'll have one that's damaged that you can probably repair. Again, these are limited sealed things, not necessarily what we believe, in constructed formats where you have access to 4 times as many cards. So I have also in probably good, I've got Vader. His stats are really good. Boba Fett, also stats are good. Doing damage, indirect damage is really good. Von Reg is fast, and so is Poe Dameron. Poe Dameron's very versatile too, because you don't just shove them into one ship, you just pay an extra one. Which is usually fine in a limited format. You might usually have resources left over because you're not building an optimal deck. I have Rio Durant, because I think Space Sentinels are like the best thing you could probably have in your sealed decks. And then Kaz, mostly because he's actually just really fast. And his stats are really good for a 4-drop leader. For leaders that I think are okay, is Thrawn. Mostly because there's not actually a lot of super impactful When defeated ability units, a lot of them are really high in this set. I actually have Lando in OK because Sentinels are really good, and games will probably tend to go a little bit longer in sealed than constructed. That's just kind of a given. I got Wedge because he's okay, but there are actually a fair amount of pilots and a lot of crazy removal. Luke, and then Trench, Akbar, and Han Solo. Han Solo's a little bit iffy because you do have to like kind of mind what you're building, but actually like his stats and the ability to regenerate resources are just mostly what I'm basing that off of. And Akbar is okay because if your opponent starts dropping bombs, they probably don't have a lot. At least you can exhaust it. Like that's the only thing I could like. You can give them an X-wing token, but that means they can't swing with a really big ship, right?
Yeah.
Trench just might be kind of interesting. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great.
I mean, he gets to go through his own deck, right? Like,
which is probably not what you want to do. I mean, it could be useful because card draw is great, but also you only have a 30-card deck, so you're more prone to running out.
you run the data conversion base with him. There you go. Then you add the extra 10 cards you don't care about.
But you can multiple deploy with him, and honestly, I think that's better. And that's why he's not the probably bad. In the probably bad, I have Piet, which sucks, but also, man, there's not a lot of great capital ships until you hit the late game, and at that point, like, you probably haven't done much. Holdo, honestly, just because, like, I think Holdo's better in sealed than constructed, but I don't think the +2/+2 to, like, a resistance unit is that impactful. And then I also have Captain Phasma, mostly because I don't think there's a particularly strong number of first order units. Oh, the stats are okay.
Yeah, I think Phasma only is good if you get all first order units. And then at that point, you can say, okay, I can play Phasma.
Yeah, so if you're choosing these leaders, those are probably bad because they require very specific cards. Some of them are probably pretty good, and there actually seems to be a lot more like decent playable leaders in sealed than there was like in the past couple sets. Because like, I mean, like, what are you gonna do with an Afra, right, from Shadows in sealed, or a new Gunray's fun, but he's not a great leader for sealed.
No, the only question I actually have on that one is the Luke one. Like, I actually think Luke is better in sealed than you have him in the OK. And I only say that just because he is able to do that, give the damage out, and he has the ability to, kind of like play either side very easily. Like,
I almost put Luke in probably good. My only concern was that his ability requires fighter and your ability to pull fighters in this set.
True.
Because there's a lot of good ones, but a lot of them are also like uncommon.
That's fair. That's probably fair. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That was the only reason why I dropped him out of probably good. Because his stats are really good, and him not being able to be removed in like this set is pretty good too, right? So
yeah.
So yeah, that's the leaders.
Yeah, that's my only thing. I do agree with you actually with Trench. That is super interesting, like, because you don't have to have cards to play, and then he's a 5/6, and he just comes out there and he gets a swing. So, and then if you kill him, you put him back out there next turn. So if 3 costs 4 or 5, it seems a little too good to be true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the best thing ever, but it's not bad. Yeah, like I guess you can try to dump a higher cost garbage card from your hand to try doing something better, but to me, it's mostly you can just keep deploying him, and he's just a steady person.
Fair enough.
But I also did some minor stats on like the number of ground units, space units, and pilots that are in this set, which I think was very relevant to my like leaders. There's only 34 pure ground units in this set, which is wild. As opposed to 85 space units.
Yeah, holy crap.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's also 39 pilots, so you do have the flexibility of going onto ground or space, but this is very, very much a space heavy set, obviously. So that affected rankings for things that are like, this is a ground sentinel. And you're just like, cool, that's fine, but not nearly as impactful as it was in the previous sets.
Yeah.
But things that are like, hey, this is a space sentinel, it's like, well, that's huge.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like I need to take Friday off again. I'm already super excited. Super excited. All right, well, let's go back up. Let's tackle the legendaries. Not that you're going to get any, but you may get some. You know, some people get more than others. Not Tanner, but, you know, other people that are not me.
or me, man. Don't look at me.
All right, JJ. Why don't you read off for us, and then Alex will kind of
absolutely. So for the legendaries in the probably good category, we got the Starhawk, which is a great green space capital ship. There, Darth Vader, of course, always really great. The Devastator, another one of those big capital ships, along with the Profundity, that just are really great cards to just play on there.
Your bombs.
Yeah, they're big bombs that really can turn the tide of the game for you. We also got the Han Solo ground unit there as well, the Radiant 7, and then Death Star plans. Those are definitely really fun. Death Star plans being that one that helps you reduce the cost of like future units. And then in the OK category, we got the Ghost, the new one that's been revealed. We got Turbo Laser Salvo, the Shadowcaster, Planetary Bombardment, Invincible, Home One capital ship, the new one that came out, and then the Stolen AT Hauler, which is definitely a lot of fun to kind of swap in between, back and forth. And then the bad category, we got the Annihilator, Hondo Anaka, Nebula Ignition, the Executor, and the Scramble Fighters, and Unity of Purpose for those. They're probably better in specified decks that you can really build out to make them work well. Probably not as good in draft as one-offs. So.
I'm very sad you put Hondo in the probably bad.
It's all double blue.
Yeah, it's a double blue. Yeah.
Which is like not something you generally want to do in a sealed environment.
I mean, if you had Death Star plans and then Hondo, maybe, but yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, so it's weird because also the little asterisks are like, well, this is like okay, or like this is between, like Planetary Bombardment as an asterisk. This is between okay and probably good. And more like, well, if you have the cards, Planetary Bombardment's pretty good because you're just doing 6 damage, or if you have the capital ships, 12 indirect. Same with Home One. Like if they have a ton of space things, that is situationally very good. But there's also like, I have the Starhawk and the Devastator. Those are great bombs in the probably good, but like the Executor and the Annihilator are probably bad because they are bombs, yes, but also they're like 11 cost. They're 11 cost with not like a crazy immediate impact on the board. Right? Like, the Annihilator's nice because you defeat it, but like, are you really going to blow up multiple copies of that card in that person's sealed deck? Probably not.
Vulture Droid Swarms, there you go, that's it.
Yeah, and the Executor, you get 3 TIE fighters, which is cool. It's just they seem maybe just a little bit slow. Hopefully, maybe your game goes long enough that when you drop those, it's actually like a major problem, or you pulled like a God Piet deck. But yeah. I mean, I think they're just a little bit too slow, and also like the probably goods are really good. That Radiant 7 is really really nasty in sealed. Like, you drop that, I don't know what I would do against that.
Cry.
It's just like, oh, cool. All my units just get -1, -0 for every damage on it, and then you dump 5 indirect damage on me. Great. We're not winning this game anymore. I mean, thankfully it only has like 6 health, but still.
All right, let's move on to rares. This one, we'll read this one off. The next one, we'll just kind of hit highlights of.
Yeah,
I think. I don't think when we hit uncommons and commons, I think it's just looking at maybe the highlights. So in the probably good, you have Aiden Versio. I think Aiden should be in a category of herself. Of if you're running blue villain and you get Aiden, you just play it. Like I don't think there's even a question. Like Aiden, why Aiden's not a legendary versus some of these other legendaries we got is beyond right. Like I would take her over an Executor all day long. And her ship. No glory, only results. Removal is insanely good. That card, I think again, that card, if you're gonna play blue villain, just you get that card, you play it. Like that card is like that card is
vanquish.
Yeah, it's just gonna end. It just ends almost any game unless they attach their leader pilot to it, right? You could just kill
their when defeated ability too.
Yep.
Yeah, which is disgusting.
Which is really good with Thrawn. So if you get 3 of those, by the way, just play that in Thrawn, and then like, oh my gosh, like that's even better.
3 out of your 6 packs for no glory only results,
Yes, baby. Then you have Cassian, L337, Victor Leader. That's an easy because you're gonna be able to swarm stuff. Luke Skywalker, which I think again, Luke is like if you're gonna play hero, green. Luke's just an auto include. Like Luke's that good.
Yep.
And honestly, a lot of it is because after he dies as an upgrade, he's now a ground unit.
Yep,
that's huge.
Exactly.
Recycling, like this is efficiency
for free too. That's the best part. Eject, that's an easy one. Yep. Lightspeed Assault, Admiral or Allegiant General Pride, IG-88, Black 1, Tactical Heavy Bomber, Trench Run, Gideon. I think Gideon also is crazy.
Like the best ground unit you can drop.
Yeah, he's just like he comes in.
Sealed
for
environment is
costs.
so nasty.
Everything costs the same amount. He's just I don't know. Boba Fett, Cat and Mouse, Ahsoka. I've actually been playing a little bit more with Ahsoka lately. I have kind of been a little bit more fond of Ahsoka than I thought I would have been. Originally, I really like her because of her ability and what she can do. And then that Sedano, I don't know how to say that.
Attach it to your opponent's thing, and now it's perilous position. Vehicle. Yeah. And it takes up their pilot slot.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
The okay stuff, we have Tam, In the Heat of Battle, Neonub, Snap Wexley, Seasoned Fleet Admiral, IG 2000. I actually think that should be in the probably good, but we'll come back to that.
So it's great if you're doing a lot of indirect damage.
Yes.
If you're not, its stats are terrible for a 4 dropship. It's a 3-4 overwhelm. What are you overwhelming?
Yeah. I think that there is a lot of indirect damage that'll be happening. So I feel that it's a little bit more relevant, but you're right. Maybe it won't be. I don't know. My goal is to build a complete indirect damage sealed deck just to piss everybody off.
Good luck. There's actually a lot less indirect damage cards than you'd expect at like lower rarity stuff.
Yeah. They hate that ship. Hot shot maneuver, jam communications. I don't know why you have that one in there. So it's a trap and there is no escape. So why do you have jam communications in there? Is it just because it's a control-ish card for 1?
Yeah, look at your opponent's hand and dump an event.
Okay. All right.
There's some really impactful events, but also like you get hand knowledge. Also, it costs 1.
Fair enough. In the probably Vlad is the Phantom 2. I almost actually think you just move that over even farther. Corporate Defense Shuttle, the Invisible Hand, General Draven, Relentless Fire Spray, Targeted Computer, and of course Ramparts. Because how are you going to increase that ship's? I don't know how you do it.
It can do something, unlike the Corporate Defense Shuttle, which literally says it can't attack. That's all it says.
True. Yeah.
And you're like, great. I have Kaz. Or if you don't have Kaz, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was looking for like any like impactful, like, hey, give this thing, exhaust this unit, do something else. Not really a thing. But it is a 3/5 for 2. So if you have Kaz and you're going blue, that ain't bad. And that's it.
We missed. I missed the Sabine's Masterpiece, Commandeer and jump to Lightspeed. I think Sabine's Masterpiece, that's just a great ship. I don't care what
Sabine's
anyone says.
Masterpiece, Jump to Lightspeed, and Commandeer are just great rares as well.
Yeah.
So now we're moving into uncommons. And I think let's just pick, I don't know. I think the Hera, I agree with you with Hera. The wing leaders are really good. Leia, Leia's just, oh my gosh, holy crap. I feel she's a little overpowered for her cost.
I don't know what they were thinking with this, honestly. Because every time I look at it, I'm just like, wow, that's really good for 3 resources. She's a 3/4 restore 1. And then when played, you attack with a pilot unit or a unit with a pilot on it, and it gets +1 and restore 1. That's a lot for a 3 costing unit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've actually been playing Leia a lot more, and I think if I don't buy a lot of boxes, I will be just collecting Leias because I think I think that card is going to be a staple going forward. I think you're right on that Von Riggs tie too. If you get that Von Riggs tie, man, that's just nuts.
And special mention, salvage would be really good. Just essentially play a vehicle out of your discard pile. It takes 1 damage. It's just really good to recycle things like that in a sealed environment. And also Frisk. Frisk is
Frisk is really good.
When you attach them for 2 to a vehicle, you just defeat and upgrade that cost 2 or less, which is a bunch of cheap pilots.
Same with Big Starklighter, just so useful. It goes with so many different types of ships. So I mean, it's handy all the way around. Yep.
And a low key, really good, kind of sneaky card there is In Debt to Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
It is a 2 cost upgrade that when the attached unit readies, you exhaust it unless the controller pays 2 extra resources. Huge in sealed, right? Just a massive tempo loss. There's not a lot of you want to play at least on curve in a sealed thing because you're not going crazy with your control or anything like that. So if you can force them to spend extra resources on keeping a good unit around, if you put that on one of their bombs, what are they gonna do?
Nothing. Oh, they're gonna play Frisk and get rid of it, right?
Yeah, true.
That's about it. Yeah, because you can't overwrite pilots, can you? That's not a thing. Because in Destiny, that was a thing. You could overwrite cards on things. Okay. I guess I probably should know this before Friday, but
hey, they updated the chart. I had to translate one of the cards from German, and it translated into Cold-Blooded Approach, what is actually called Heartless Tactics.
Oh.
That card's kind of nuts. It's a 2 cost yellow villainy event that is exhaust a unit and give it -2/-0 for this phase. Then, if it has 0 power and isn't a leader, you may return it to its owner's hand.
Oh, it's gross.
So you get an exhaust automatically, and they get it -2/-0 this phase. And then, if it just doesn't have any attack, you can just bounce it.
Yeah, so if you can't kill it or something like that.
Right. So I think that card is really sneaky, kind of good. Good little tactic there.
Really good against those phantoms. Yeah.
I also think the Mandalorian, you have that in the good. I actually think that's almost better because it's not a double yellow when you play it as a pilot, right?
Right. But the fact is you have to play it as a pilot. And that's kind of why I moved it to okay.
All right. Yeah.
Because if you don't have a ship, it literally doesn't do anything until you hit 7 resources. And he's a good ground unit, actually. But if you play him as an upgrade too, he doesn't actually, he's a +3/+1, so even the ship that you put him on has to have a lot of health for him to even really be impactful.
Yeah, you know what he's super fun in? He's super fun in Kaz, babe.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure he's great in anything that's mono yellow.
Mm-hmm. I love him in Kaz.
He's probably really good in a Mandalorian deck as well.
Yeah.
Man, We should build a Mandalorian double yellow deck.
I have a showcase now.
Do you? You bought one?
Yeah, there was a local of mine having some money troubles, unfortunately, and he's just like, I have this Mandalorian showcase. And I'm like, how much? And he's just like, 120? And I'm like, well, that's pretty significantly below the TCG player, so I guess, sure. So I have a Mandalorian card now, which is cool.
That's crazy. Well, I guess you're definitely building. All right, we're getting off track. Though. Let's go back. I also think that Fireball is still, even for like it being, you have to take the damage for it. I still think it's really good.
Yes, I just you're just playing it and it blows up, which thematic, but like it's nice that it's just a 3-attack ambush unit, really, honestly, because it will die. Basically after you play it, so it's like it's fine, but not great. But yeah,
Right.
like that's also shout out to the Phasma. I think I have her in like OK plus, just mostly because her stats are like actually really solid at a 5/6 for 5. But her ability doesn't really do too much unless you have other first order units.
Yeah, exactly.
But a 5/6 on ground for 5 when there's not a lot of ground to contest, it's pretty decent.
All right, and let's move on to commons as kind of the last category. We got it split up over a couple of pages.
Yeah, nothing like crazy. I did put repair in probably good, mostly because it can help if you have a ship that's damaged, then you put a pilot on. And also, I think this set is pretty fast in terms of like, playing cards, do indirect damage, all that kind of stuff. So the repair might actually help.
Yeah,
it's like your basic like control cards.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I actually really do think that's. I think that card actually even might have some play in specific decks in non-sealed environments, right? I don't know. You have the Onyx Brood. I agree with. That resupply carrier is absolutely hilarious because by the time you hit 6 resources, like it's just a win more condition, right?
Yes, but at least you can play more cards than your opponent now, and you have a body for it.
I suppose that dorsal turret though should be like in a tier of its own. Like I think that if you
dorsal's wild.
Like if you get dorsal turret,
Dorsal's
just play it. Play it off suit. Like that card is nuts.
Yes, Tanner, I see you have like an annihilator out. It'd be a shame if my like A-wing decided to just shoot it with a dorsal turret and it blows up.
Yeah, which makes no thematic sense. But hey,
or like
I'm pretty sure I saw an A-wing take out a Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
but not with the turret.
Y-wing. A 2-cost Y-wing doing a strafing run onto a crate dragon with a dorsal turret.
Yeah, I'll do you one better, JJ. The Republic Y-wing cost 1. And it's thematic with the dorsal turret.
Yes. Oh man, that's great.
Ooh, you can put R2D2 on it, and then it's even better. Like that. Oh, and because R2D2 lets you put another pilot on there, it's even better. It's like even more thematic than like we could put a crew on there. Oh my gosh, now we're talking X-wing again.
Yeah, I was about to say we're just talking about X-wing now. That's not a
like. But that's
no. The dorsal turret's wild. Like, why is that
common?
Yeah.
Like again, some of the legendaries. So they did. I will clarify a little bit. They did actually say on one of the streams, they said they can't make every like legendary, like super bomb and like all these other cards not bomb. Like they have to give you something. But dorsal turret feels like it should be at minimum an uncommon. Like that card's nuts. Like that card is so good. I guess if you're running against somebody that's running Frisk, then maybe not as much. But outside of that card just like thank you. Mm-hmm.
Red actually has like a shocking amount of like really good like control cards.
Yep.
Which is weird, but like you got like system shock, right? Just defeat a non-leader upgrade and then do 1 damage to that unit. That's not a red card. That's like a blue card.
Yeah.
And like shoot down, 3 damage to a space unit. If you blew it up, then do 2 damage to the base. Even better.
Yeah, like my preferred is going to be like Vader Red, I think, in this. Like that's kind of where I feel I would be have super fun with. Even without the Vader legendary card. Just like forget about that. Just let me run a Vader Red space deck with those in there.
And you got like Piercing Shot, which is a 3 damage, but you also blow up all the shields first. I don't think there's many things with shields that going to be super relevant unless you're like a Star Viper. But like just it's pay 3 to do 3 and also take out a shield, I guess. Do 3 no matter what.
Yeah. I think in your OKs, I think that the K-Churn, I think that's a bomb card. I actually feel that card is really good in sealed.
You
like
just
I would
need a fighter or a transport, which there's a fair
there's
amount,
quite a few in this set.
But I'm not sure how impactful those are going to be to pay 3 to re-ready them while they still have 6 power or less.
Yeah.
Because like you want it with a pilot. It's good if you have something like Dengar Pilot. Because Dengar Pilot, he doesn't give a lot of he just gives +1 attack, but he does like indirect damage, right? He's got +1, +2, but he deals 2 indirect or 3 if it's an underworld unit. So that's really good, like K-turn with a Dengar thing. I'm just worried about the 6 power or less, honestly.
I suppose. I still think it's really good. I would definitely be playing
I'll give you
that.
OK plus.
All right. I like how you still have the Sky Cloud card in here too. Like that's a ground unit, baby. That like there's only so many ground units. So
for some reason, like the Cloud car is a ground unit, but it's a 3/3 for 3, which is not the best. But at least it bounces when it dies.
The other one I'm trying to think of. So I agree with most of these. Oh, Twin Laser Turret is hilarious. You have it in bad because that card in X-Wing was stupid.
Yes. It might be slightly biased there because it did ruin X-Wing, but I just it's in bad plus. Like I like the +2/+2 for 2, but the hit 2 units for 1 damage is triggering, I think.
I mean, Palp will love that, right?
Well, I mean, like, this is sealed, JJ. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
sealed
yeah.
has-
Okay.
You're not
Good
going to
point,
get
good point,
those.
good point. Yeah. You're right.
So it's like it's fine. But it's just wild to me that this game now has a K-wing and also a TLT.
Yep. And you could put the TLT on the K-Wing if you want to go for ultimate middle fingers.
Also, it is worth noting that I do have a neutral card in probably good, and that is the 5/5 or the 4/4 for 5 Space Sentinel, the Corellian freighter that was in the first set.
Oh,
4/4
yeah, that
for
card's
5s.
nuts in this set.
You need Space Sentinels.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely need
for
Space
sure.
Sentinels. It's
Yeah.
not a very efficient card. 4/4 for 5 with Sentinel, but it is something that I would heavily consider putting in your deck. Because again, 85 space units.
Yeah. So now you have these unverified. What is the idea behind this? Is these just cards you don't know anything about?
These are cards that they showed off on the stream, but they put them in like the little acrylic holder that covered up their rarity. So I don't know what rarity these cards are. So I couldn't really evaluate like crazy on these, but I tried to do what I could. You know, it's close the shield gate because just preventing all the damage done to your deck space seems really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a green villain pilot that's essentially traitorous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Pantoran Starship Thief with a nice
Yeah.
little hawk in the background there. So that's really cool. And I am slightly biased towards the Kimagilas, but it's not a bad card. Indirect damage is really nice.
There's no bullseye, though.
Expensive.
There's no bullseye.
I did have a question regarding the Pantoran Thief, right? Like,
Yeah.
what if you did it on a mercenary gunship? Can you still buy your ship back with the Pantoran pilot on it?
Yep.
Well, that's not in sealed.
That'd be
but
great.
if it wasn't
I know, I'm
sealed-
just saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you control that unit, and then they take control of the unit. Like it just goes
That's
back and
great.
forth. Don't do that. Because you have to pay 5 to take control of their mercenary gunship instead of just paying 4 to do it.
And then they're going to take it back for 4. You're going
Right.
to cry, and you're going to cry a little bit.
Yeah, so this is just like kind of the stuff that I couldn't see the rarity on. Nothing crazy. It's nice that like Villainy just straight up has like a rogue class Space Sentinel. That's cool. It's a 4/3 for 4, which is
Yep.
great, but it's a Space Sentinel. So that's
right,
what I tried to do.
The last piece is the bases. We haven't talked about bases, so let's cover bases real quick, and then we'll get out of here. But like the bases, like I don't know, like you have Colossus, which gives you extra 5 health, but 1 less card.
I did put those in order. I thought would
Okay.
be better. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Then you have the Thermal Oscillator, Nabat Village, Lake County, and then Data Vault. And like I agree with you, Data Vault just sounds awful in
Yeah, to try and
sealed.
build a 40 card sealed deck for
Yeah.
3
Can you-
extra health or whatever.
Can you imagine if you get 2 of those, right? Like if you just get 2 of those in your packs, you're just gonna cry. Like you're just gonna be like, I got no other rares.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get up and leave. But yeah, I think Colossus, because it tends to be a little bit slower. Sealed, the 5 extra health might mean something. Just drawing, 1 less card. The Thermal Oscillator, I think it's really good for consistency. Obviously, right? Paying 5 less cards in your deck, 25 card deck, and sealed can be real lean and mean. And I was debating between which one would be better. But like if honestly, I think just because blue has a little bit more control cards, so they're more likely to go to a later game and get like the full use out of their 35 health base. Like there's the red can aggro, but I don't know in a sealed thing if it's great. And I think like Lake Country is just like you don't want to gimp yourself in a sealed thing. Like you're only paying 2 aspects, right? Your villainy or your hero aspect plus 1 color is pretty rough for 4 extra health.
Yeah, you don't want any of that. And nobody wants Data Vault, so
right. And so by default, Nabat Village is right there, square in the middle, where statistically, if you're looking for a particular 2-card combo, it is better, but that's about it. Really, I wouldn't consider playing anything that wasn't Colossus and Thermal Oscillator if you're going to try to gun for a rare base. Those are probably the only 2 I'd run.
And that Thermal Oscillator, I think, is dependent on how many really good cards you get. Like, did you get 30% of your deck is bombs? Then, okay, yes, let's play that, Yeah. Did you get 2 Avengers?
Yeah.
Are you running Piat and you have 2 Avengers and you just want to be able to pull them? Then, okay, run that. Other than that, don't run it.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
That's my guide, I guess, for what I'm gonna try to evaluate sealed cards and whatnot. And again, I could be totally wrong. I don't think I'm far off on.
We're not wrong. Come on, we're Planning Phase Syndicate, man. We're like almost always on top of this shit. I mean, we both
never have we said a false statement in our life.
Never. Well, I mean, we've topped at PQs. We've won store champs. Come on, man. We're golden. We're good with your guy.